Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Thing Is. Today I have with me a special guest. I have Michelle. Hey Michelle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. So I have you on this show because I feel like I haven't really touched on this subject so much because I know that you're a single mum, right?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Are you dating? Yeah. Don't hold back now. Don't hold back.
Define dating, because the American definition and the Ghanaian definition are like two different things.
So tell me, what's the difference?
So the American definition of dating is, you have a few suitors, who are courting you in hopes, to win the prize.
Okay.
And then, Ghanaian terms, in Ghanaian terms, dating is like exclusively dating one person, like your boyfriend, girlfriend, in a committed relationship. Right. So that can be a bit confusing.
This is very interesting. And I will tell you why this is interesting. I have gone on camera and I have said, if I'm going to date, I want to kind of like have a feel. I don't necessarily want to commit straight away. Like for me, I believe that dating is being able to look at your potentials and then make a choice from there. Yeah. And people are like, well, I hope if you do that, then he's going to be able to do that too, because it's not fair. And I was like, it's not that deep. Like maybe I should take out the word dating so it's easier for people to digest. Because if a guy approaches me, like I might go to dinner with him a couple of times, but actually maybe tomorrow I'll go to dinner with someone else.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely. Or lunch with someone and dinner with someone else.
Right. But I got my head chopped off basically for saying it. So it's interesting that you should put that spin on it as in American and Ghanaian and kind of make that distinction.
Yeah. It was a bit confusing at first because you would say one thing and then it's something completely different.
Right. Yeah. So have you dated here in Ghana?
I have both the American and Ghanaian version of dating.
Wow, okay.
Yes, I have.
And what was that? Okay. I'm going to touch on what that was like. Okay. But I want to ask you something because last week I had someone on the show. Okay. And we talked about single mothers. We touched on it just very briefly. And he basically said, why do women always feel that if you're going to take them on a date, one of the first things they have to say to you is, oh, I got kids. He was kind of like that. And I could understand why a woman would want to make mention of the fact that she's a single mum. Yeah. What's your take on that?
I think that, we are not here to waste time, right? So I can understand why a woman would straight out the gate be like, listen, I got kids.
I got kids.
I'm a mother, But personally, I think it's all in how you bring it up. Right. You do want to, it's all in how you bring it up. Right. Because, I don't know, let's say you're like at dinner with the guy and it's like, oh, I had a lovely time. I'd like to see you again. What are you doing tomorrow? Right. Like, well, I got kids, so I don't know about, Right. There's that way. Or, as you're getting to know each other, you can like sneak something in there. Like, oh, okay, what's your typical day look like? Well, my daughter has a recital at school tomorrow. So. Right. See how simple that is?
But do you feel that throws guys off as soon as you mention the fact that you have a child? What has your experience been like?
My experience is that, hasn't stopped me. It hasn't really stopped me from dating or being in committed relationships at all.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think when you become a parent, your standards also change. So you kind of like weed out the people who are not so serious.
Okay. Okay, so how do you weed out these people that you feel are not going to be serious?
I listen for like certain things they say in conversations. Now my ears perk up more when they talk about their relationship with, let's say, their parents or their mom, or you know what I mean? It tells me a lot. It tells me a whole lot. I think at first when I was not a parent, I'm like, oh, okay, so you hate your mom, cool. Anyway,
cool.
But now I'm just like, okay.
Right.
Huge red flag, you know? So just like your relationship with your parents or with other people, or how you see women, because I have a daughter, you know, so my ears perk up at certain things and I'm able to like weed them out. That, and the people who say they don't date single moms, they weed themselves out. So, I mean, obviously they're very immature.
I was just about to ask you, do you take offense to that when someone says, I don't want a woman that has children already?
No. I love that. Thank you for seeing yourself out, you know? And I think that's fair, you know, because some women have kids and don't want to date men with kids.
That's true. A lot of it is preference, right?
Yeah.
So would you date a guy that has children?
I would date a guy that has children. However, I think when I first became a single mom, I said, well, I want to date men who have children exclusively, because I felt like it would make things easier, simpler. But now I want to date, if I'm dating a man who has kids, it needs to be a man who's actually in his children's life, who actually likes his kids.
Right.
Because many men have kids.
But it's easy to do that,
but don't really have kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge difference.
So those things are another thing that kind of like, you know, when they come across my radar, it's like, you know, there's a little alarm going off, like, red flag. How come you never with your kids?
Right.
You know?
So do you feel like, because every woman kind of has a list of what she looks for in a guy, right? Yeah. Do you feel like since you have children that you have to reduce your list in terms of what you're looking for?
No, I don't think I have to reduce my list. I think I have to add more things to my list that weren't important to me before.
Perspective.
Yes, because at first, well, one thing I put at the bottom of my list is looks.
There you go. Right. See, no, I'm just going to interject just for a moment, right? Because a lot of people think that women, their first thing is always looks. You always want a man that has a six-pack. You want this, that, and the other. And because you've got a child, you shouldn't be aiming for that kind of guy, because they're going to be out of your league, because they're in the top 1% and every woman's looking for them. And I just think like that's not actually how we think. There may be some women that think like that. But for the most part, I feel like actually looks is not necessarily high up there. I've said it so many times on camera, but I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back that didn't hear.
Exactly.
Confidence is the most attractive thing about a man to me.
Yeah, and
I don't know about for you. What do you find? What really attracts you?
Well, I find what attracts me is a sense of purpose, right? Because a man with no purpose will lead you where?
Oh my gosh.
He don't even know where he's going.
Please.
And I think that, it just kind of, it helps, right? Because then you can kind of see where their mind is at. But a few of the things, some more things that I've added to my list are, you know, what family they come from. This is Ghana.
Right.
These things matter. You know, what else? Yeah, so looks are at the bottom of my list now because everybody's beautiful in this beautiful country. And also I find that if you're looking at the person's looks and the person knows they're good looking, chances are that's all they've got going for them or are pulling from. But a sense of purpose, someone who's nurturing, also your family background, like what kind of home did you grow up in? Because it'll tell me how you feel about mothers, right? How you feel about single mothers.
Right.
Maybe your mom was a single mom. And I tried that too. I'm like, oh, well, his mom was a single mom, so he like gets it. But then the relationship that he has with his mom mirrored back to me. I didn't really like it, you know. So his mother raised him by herself, and you know, was one of those women who didn't really do anything. Just made him her whole life. And I'm just like, well, the good news is I'm not your mom. And also this can't work because no, you know. But yeah, so family is really important. Super, super important.
I get it. So do you think it's possible to have, because I mean, I find, anyway, I mean, I'm just going out onto the dating scene. I haven't even dated yet.
Welcome.
But,
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the street.
So I don't know, is it possible to find a man that is physically attractive and also is actually very kind-hearted at the same time. I know that probably sounds like a really weird question because a lot of the time people are like, well, you need to compromise on something because the guys that are handsome, they're looking for women that are like this or like this. You know, they don't want anybody that's got a mum body or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like, is it possible to find a guy that looks really good, like attractively appealing, and he still be actually kind-hearted?
I think so. I've dated a few.
Really?
So I know they're out there.
Okay, I'm going to pull you up now because you said something, and I know someone in the comments is going to pull it up as well, so I'm going to ask you first.
Okay.
So why are you not dating them anymore then, if they were that kind-hearted and they were attractive?
Girl. Okay, well,
I put you on the spot there. Yep.
yeah, you really did.
I know,
Let's
did.
just say
Right?
our values did not align, so we could not be together.
What a politically correct answer.
Thank you. I'm running for president soon, but you know, I think. You know, when you're with someone and you can be yourself, right? You are your entire full self, unapologetically.
Right.
So that's the good, the bad, the ugly. And sometimes when you're in like a good, healthy relationship, you're able to like let down a few things and really see what you've got in your bag, right? You really get to let down your baggage and be like, how'd that get there? Or I'm still holding on to that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a few of the things that were in our collective bags just didn't really align, you know, and it made it really difficult to proceed with a relationship. So, but the great thing that it did do was show us what's in our bags, right? So now when approaching relationships, you can do it a bit differently now, you know what I mean? Or you can be like, okay, let me solve my bag
Right.
and then get back into the pool. But I'm the kind of person who likes to like, you know, work and play. So, I'm in the bag, but then I'm also in the streets.
She's in the streets.
Just one little toe out the street.
Sure. So tell me, when you date people, do you have to be heartbroken after everyone? And I don't know if that's even a question. Do you know what I'm asking? Do you feel heartbreak after like this relationship didn't work out?
I used to take it personally. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm great. You know, I'm witty, I'm cute.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You see yourself and you're like, I'm that girl.
Right.
You know, yeah, I used to take it personally, but now I'm just like, okay, the sooner you make up your mind that, okay, this is not a match, right? The better. There's this woman on Instagram, Miley Teal, who says this thing that now I can't get it out of my head. Let go or be dragged. Let go or be dragged. For whoever needs to hear it, let go or be dragged, you know, because
damn, I should have heard about that.
well, you know it now.
I know it now.
Yeah, because sometimes I think that we might see a red flag or something might like set off our alarm, but maybe we feel like, okay, maybe I'm just being sensitive, or maybe he didn't mean it like that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and we all know when to let go, and we all know when we're not letting go, and when we're dragged, we're like, damn, I should have let go. You know?
So do you feel like women tend to ignore red flags a lot?
I think they can, just because we live in a society where being in a relationship is better than being in no relationship, and a lot of your worth sometimes is tied to who you're tied to. You know, whether it's who you're dating, who you're married to, you know, who your dad is. Like, our worth sometimes are like attached to the men in our lives. You know what I mean? So sometimes it can be difficult for a woman to let go of a relationship, especially in Ghana. If you've done like the hard launch of your man. And for those who don't know what the hard launch is, there's a soft launch where you like post his little elbow, you know what I mean?
Right, you bring it in slowly.
But a hard launch is like full frontal. This is my man. Be out, tag him, and things like that. Once you've done that, it could be difficult because now like now you have an audience.
And now people want to know like what happened.
What happened? I don't see any of your pictures anymore.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah.
Girl.
We don't want to be doing that.
We do not. We do not. So yeah, I can see why it's difficult for some people to like let go, because they've tied their worth to their partner and have also noticed that other people have tied their worth to them, being in a partnership with someone. So,
Okay, so what would you say is like your top 2 things that you would like from a man? What is the top of your list?
He has to be nurturing, because I'm an Aries fire sign, and I'm boss and baby.
Okay, she's boss and baby.
And sometimes it can switch like that. So, someone who's nurturing and understanding, and also generous and enterprising, because we're not about to be broke.
Right, okay.
Just because I have a very entrepreneurial spirit, and at some point I'm going to inherit my parents, African kids.
So
now I'm in the stage of my life where I'm like, all right, are you smart?
You need someone with at least some common sense.
Are you good with money?
Yeah.
And also, how do you handle conflict? Not just with me, but with others, right? Like how will you fit into my family? And how will I fit into yours, right?
Yeah.
Because marriage is about joining families. You know what I mean? So these are the things that are now like at the top. I said 2, but I named like
That's fine. So I think for most people, they have to, when you go into a relationship, right, you have to have your heart and then you have to have your head.
Yes.
Your head absolutely has to be a part of what you're going to do. Otherwise, you'll make a mistake. If you go into a relationship and everything you do is with your heart, we can all do that. Oh, but I just love him. We'll work it out somewhere down the line. You're going to have problems.
Yeah.
You're going to have huge problems.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, I know some people don't like to say this, but it is almost like a business arrangement when you join yourself to someone, because you're going to do life together. You're going to join your assets together to an extent. You're going to do everything together. So the person that you're with cannot be dead weight.
No. Absolutely not. Otherwise, I'll have to hear about it from my parents.
Right.
And I'm grown. I'm not trying to, you're not about to be, no. You're not about to do that. But yeah, absolutely. You don't want to.
So how much influence would you allow your parents to have in the decision making of you wanting to get married to someone or make someone your life partner?
They don't have much of an influence, right? But there are certain boundaries. Okay, if I'm being honest, as a Ghanaian child, my very Ghanaian parents, my very Akan parents, they have said in very few words that, listen, don't be bringing maybe people of a certain tribe or things like that.
Yeah, we hear that all the time.
We hear that all the time, and we don't want to like admit that it's a thing, but it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's definitely
a thing.
It's a huge thing.
It's a thing.
And I'm open-minded, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think that some of their prejudice is kind of like in my ears. So that if I'm like interacting with someone of a certain tribe, I'm like, it might not even be a thing.
Yeah.
But I think as far as I trust myself to make like a good decision, and that decision will also entail like someone who fits well in our family, because we're a very interesting family. You know what I mean? We're close, and we're also not your typical Ghanaian family,
right?
Yeah, and the way that my parents, I don't know who's my cousin from my mom's side or my dad's side. We literally just like made one huge family. So I'm expecting and expected to kind of like keep that going. So it's really important that.
Yeah, I think the reason I asked you is because I think that's the part that a lot of people get wrong. Because especially when it comes to African culture, especially, it's a joining of families. And if you don't know the first person's family, the person can be telling you absolutely anything that you want to hear. And you don't actually know anything.
At all.
And I find that that's one of the things that can make dating very hard. If you don't necessarily know that person's family, but not every culture does it.
No, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're in the West, you don't really have to know the person. You just need to know, okay, that's his mom, that's his dad.
Right.
You don't have to be immersed in their family. And so you kind of got a lot hidden from you, in that respect. So that's kind of scary.
Yeah, and I find that a lot of the women who do come here aren't aware of these things. So then you find, you hear a lot of interesting dynamics, you know what I mean? Where, okay, he's married and has a girlfriend, and I didn't know, and I married him too. It's like, well, then you didn't. Did you?
Tell me about some of these stories, because I haven't heard many. Well, I've kind of heard, but I haven't really heard. What is it like when people come from the West and get into relationships with people from here?
It's interesting, and I've seen a lot of them, and because Villa Diaspora, I see people come and go, and the people who assist them, right? I always find it really interesting when a person has never been to the country but already has like a partner. I don't know why people don't call them like my boyfriend, my girlfriend, but my partner.
Right.
Whatever floats your boat. Still your boyfriend though, but okay. Yeah, so they have these people and they put their entire trust into this person, but don't really know the manner in which we judge people here. Right? Because they're judging them based on Western standards, which is, oh, he's cute, he's tall, he got a beard, he drives this kind of car, but that's
superficial nonsense.
So superficial. I'm like even afraid for anybody who's dating someone just based on these things, because you don't know who you think you've met their family, but that's his friend who's in on it.
Listen.
You think you don't know, his mom might be in on it, his grandmother might be in on it. So you really have to. I think for women who want to come here and date, I would say to just like observe. And
I feel like we need a whole special episode on just this.
We really do.
Just this, because there's a lot to actually think about and understand before you jump into a relationship, especially if you don't really know Ghana like that.
Girl. The advice that I give like the women who come through my space is make friends first. Make platonic female friends first, who you feel like are have the similar standards, similar values, right? Because maybe they invite you to church and, oh, this is my brother. Or, you know what I mean? I think when you seek out these people, you would also know where they go, where they hang out, right? So then chances are you also meet the men who also hang out there.
That's interesting what you just said. Let me tell you why. I was minding my own business, scrolling Instagram.
As we do.
Yeah, exactly. And then I came across this post, and this woman, she was like, look, if you want a high-class man, you need to find out where they go. If they go to, I don't know, for example, a particular restaurant, you need to be going to that restaurant if you want that kind of man. If he goes wherever, you need to, if there's a particular gym that rich men go to, or that the particular type of man that you want goes to, sign up to that gym, because that's how you're going to find him. You're not going to find him in the grocery store walking up and down the aisle. That's not where they hang out. I was like,
Yeah, that's why it's important for you to make the friends before you worry about, dating, because you don't know who you're dating. Because one thing I've noticed is it's kind of like an exchange. Like you go to the Forex Bureau to exchange your money, right? The rate is there's a rate.
Yeah.
So you're not going to spend $1 the way you spend one city. So you need to know the value of the city here. You need to know the value of the dollar. Yes. So you need to. I think sometimes like we see, oh, this person, like they seem really cool and artsy, but you don't know the financial standings of the people in the art scene here.
Right.
Where it might be one thing in the States, it's something completely different here.
Yeah.
So I think when I first came, I wasn't really aware that people dress the way they want to be addressed. You know, like people, whenever we dress up, we're in uniform. Right. So if somebody sees me like this with cowboy boots on, they're like, oh, she's not from here. You know, or like if guys have a particular haircut, we already know who you are. Whether you're a fraud boy, whether you are like you work a 9 to 5, like we can tell just by looking at you. But we can tell just by looking at you because we've studied it. But you coming here with your own preconceived notions, right? Like if you see, like in New York, you can be sitting next to somebody with tattered jeans and really dirty sneakers. And they can be the richest person on the train.
Absolutely.
But the same thing doesn't apply here. You know, so you need to know what applies here.
That's so good. So good.
Yeah. So I think in addition to going where they are, also think about what their habits are. I think I've cracked the code.
Okay, give me the code. Who's got pen and paper?
Are we ready?
Pen and paper?
Okay, now the pressure. So one thing I always advise women that go for a walk.
Okay.
Go for a walk in your neighborhood. That's where you see, and early morning, go for a walk. So anyone who has the ability to focus on their health in this country has time. Time that the everyday person doesn't have. Will do what? Go for a walk, go for a jog. Meanwhile, I have all these mouths to feed. Yeah.
That's good.
What people do in their leisure time tells you everything about their standings and like the place that they occupy in society.
Man, you're dropping some truth bombs here. My gosh.
Yes, girl. And I think, and it doesn't really matter what neighborhood you're in, right? It's the habit of these high value people that you're trying to, you know, that you're trying to meet. You know, pick up a sport, learn to golf. Golf, tennis. I used to play 3 days a week.
Really?
I can tell you. And they're fit.
Yeah.
Anybody who takes the time to get fit is somebody who's, I think, worth getting to know. Yeah, they're investing in themselves. And I think we want that. We want men who have purpose and really care about themselves, you know. But if you're just looking based on like the person and how they present themselves, they've just brought their representative.
Yeah.
How they dress up their representative. And I think we also live in this space where people will dress the part. A lot of people are cosplaying, right? But don't really have an understanding of the culture that goes with the way that they've presented themselves. But you having an understanding of that culture and you see this uniform, you're like, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But they have no idea. And neither do you. Like you're both clueless and then you're like, oh, but you should, you know, and then you start holding them to a standard that they're not even aware of. And then that's just the beginning of the end.
Very, very interesting. So I'm going to ask you a question that might be a little bit difficult for you to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Let's see. Let's see.
Okay, so what do you think men look for in a woman?
You're right, that is difficult.
It's a difficult one because you're not a man. You're not a man. But I feel like for women, we need to know at least or have a hint of what a man would want from a woman in order to know what we should give them. So what do you think those things are?
I think that my cousin say it. My cousin like gives me all the male advice that I don't take. Because I believe that bought sense is better than taught sense. So I have to go learn for myself. And what I've learned for myself is that I think men like peace. That's what they say. Peace. I've heard men say that. And then also just a place where they can just be vulnerable. You know, I just learned recently that men also have emotions.
Yes.
Were you aware?
Yeah. Recently, actually.
Yeah.
Recently.
I mean, I joke, but like,
I know.
It's one of those things where
but like you know it, but you don't really think about it. Like you think, but she's emotional because of whatever, but you don't feel like a man necessarily has those emotions. Yeah, he could be emotional. Maybe he's a little bit upset, but you don't think of it in the same way you would think that a woman can be emotional. A man can have a level of emotion as well. Yeah. You know?
It's true. I was having a conversation with my friend and I was just like seriously, it's kind of like mind-boggling that we don't really like the fact that we're here in 2023 and we're now like, oh snap, men were also born with emotions. They've just been taught to suppress them this whole time, right? And I think that it also plays a part in how we interact with one another, right? Because it's like they're dying by their own sword, right? This like patriarchy thing and this toxic masculinity, and you know, kind of having to live by it no matter what you feel, because otherwise the alternative is what you don't want. You know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, you're not a man, or you're like feminine, or
I feel like that's so unfair on men, because just because a man is in touch with his emotions, that doesn't mean he's crying every 3 days.
No.
But I mean, then he gets called soft, right?
Yeah.
But then we want a man who's also in touch with that side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And so it can be, I give the men, they can be a little hard. It can be hard out here. I give them that.
Yeah. So I would say like a space where they could be vulnerable, and also, just, I guess, a sense of peace. That's what they say. I'm just repeating.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that for men, the biggest thing that they need is respect from a woman. Like someone actually put a comment and said, on one of my videos, and said that a man would rather take a woman who is a 5 out of 10 to him, because she gives him respect, over a woman that is 10 out of 10 and he's perfect, if she's going to give him a hard time.
Yeah,
I think that's very interesting.
It is. I feel like it was an African man who left that.
Yeah. If you were the African man that said that, let me know if that was you.
Right. Kofi Kam, what? What are you saying? Well, I think as humans, as adults, we all want to be respected, you know, but I think we should also find a way to express our needs and wants in a respectful way, you know, because I think some of us don't really know how to verbalize. Right?
Yeah.
And then it also comes down to like our attachment styles, which is like completely, that's like a whole book, right? Or like 1,000, you know, so it comes down to like all these little things. So kind of like finding the patience with one another to learn about how your partner communicates, right? And how they communicate when they're under pressure, how they communicate when they're stressed, how they communicate when they're happy.
It's important.
You know, very, very, very important, because it's literally life or death, you know, to your relationship.
Yeah. So do you think being a single mom has been some type of challenge for you, in terms of, has it been difficult for you to, more difficult for you to date being a single mom as opposed to when you were single, completely free?
I think that
Can you see it?
That if there have been challenges.
Can you see the difference between the dating scene?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think now I have standards. Not that I didn't have any standards, but it was just very like, oh, you're a vibe, I'm a vibe, let's vibe. You know, now it's a lot more. It's like, okay, what position do you hold in your company? I'm looking for something a bit more substantial, concrete, you know.
What about from the guy's perspective? Have you seen a difference from that side? The type of guy that will be willing to date you because you have a child, or not?
Willing to date me.
Yeah. She don't like how I phrase that question.
What you mean by that?
Willing? What?
Should be honored. I think that now, being a mom, I also am confident in what I bring. I hate to have that bring to the table conversation, but like, I'm me, you know, and you know I'm me. And
so you're more self-assured in who you are now.
Exactly. And I don't know, I think I have to run the question back so I can like really grasp and answer it.
Okay. So do you think, has it been more difficult for you to date now that, as a single mum, as opposed to when you were not a mum, the caliber of man, maybe I should say, the caliber of man that you have access to, is that different now?
Very, 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 very different. Because at first you're just like, you know, it's. I think at first I would date someone just based on very superficial things, you know, because I was young and hip. But now the caliber of men has definitely changed. Yeah, because.
But you being a single mom, does it put them off?
No.
Okay. That was easy, okay.
No, know, because I'm still me, you know, and anybody who's here for me understands that we are a package deal. And I find that men are like intrigued more so than anything. You know, men want to meet my daughter, and I'm just like,
yeah.
You know, when I think we would assume that would be like the opposite, right? They'd be like, I want to see your kid. I want to hear about your kid. I want to babysit no kids. We're not, you know. But I find that men are more intrigued. You know, I can't say exactly why, but I could just tell you that maybe because I'm me. I'm confident. I don't hide the fact that I have a daughter. And I don't change myself. I haven't changed myself just because I'm a mom. You know,
So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
So as you are dating and the person finds out that you're a mom, so are you looking for someone to be a father to your child, or you just want to date?
Right now, I just want to date. But in the future, yes, I would like to, like, you know, I still want more kids. I want 3 more kids.
Okay, that's a lot, trust me.
That is a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And I'll take them biologically or bonus kids. I just want like a full house of, you know, siblings.
Yes, nice.
You know, leave your sister alone. Go ahead, break kids, you know.
Please come to my house. You can have them for like how many weeks you want. They will do all of that for you.
Well, that's not quite the agreement I'm looking for, but thank you.
Don't say I didn't offer. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind like that.
But yeah, I do want more children, and so I would like to, because right now I am dating, and just I am, and I've kind of like changed my dating style a bit, because I feel like I think one of the important things that I learned recently is to not change your standards. You know what I mean? Because, you know, and have a level of discernment, which is like, you know, the difference between almost perfect and perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And don't compromise your standards, because maybe the person is great, but at the same time too, they are not in the position to keep you at a certain standard of living. You know, and then resentment comes in, and so many different things that just have no place in a relationship. At least a healthy one, right? And then, you know, then the let go get drive comes in.
I'm going to ask you this really fun question as a final question. Okay, this is fun. So there's this guy. He's absolutely everything. Like he matches you perfectly. Yeah. Really, really well. Okay. But he has a stomach like this. Would you be honest? Be honest. He, like, you click on all levels. Like, he cooks for you. He will romance you every single day as much as you want. But he has like this. Okay. Well, yeah. You would date him still?
I would date him.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said in the beginning, I feel like, looks are not at the top of my list. They matter. You know, but also, yeah, we all have, maybe some people's is body. Some people want someone with a nice smile. Some people want somebody with, like, you know, broad shoulders and like a beard or something, you know. But yeah, maybe he has a nice smile too, right? But I think that what I'm looking for, like, I'm thinking more so about how I want to feel in my relationship, not what I want it to look like to somebody who's not paying our bills. There's a difference, he's rubbing my feet too, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Someone's not rubbing my feet.
That goes without saying. I mean, like, you've got to rub the feet.
Yes. I'm more interested in what my relationship feels like versus what it looks like. Wow. You know, and I mean, because of the internet and social media, people feel like they have the right to, you know, comment on you, your partner, your kids, you know, but you're not marrying those people.
So would you date someone shorter than you?
I would.
Like, he's like up to hip. Like,
I've dated someone shorter than me.
Really? Yeah. Really? I have to get my head around that one.
No, I mean, it's not bad. And I feel like there's something like incredibly masculine about a man who would date a taller woman. Like, they don't care. Okay. They want to climb you.
Up we go.
Okay, now I'm gonna have that picture in my head.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't live in Ghana and say you're not going to date a short guy. This is where they're born and bred.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll have to think.
No
about
offense
that.
to the short man.
Okay.
But yeah, I think just focusing on what the relationship feels like, and also I think I'm a mom. Right, and I do want good examples. I want to set a good example for my children.
Absolutely, you have to.
know, yeah. So if there's a perfect guy for us, right? Because we're marrying each other, right? If there's a perfect guy for us, but I'm like, I don't like the way his belly looks. What example am I setting for my daughter? You know, and how would she see herself? Maybe if somebody tells her that maybe she's not beautiful, then she might believe them because these things obviously matter over everything else. You know. So
yeah, I like that. I think I would also date someone with a belly, but then I would want him to work on it because
that goes
for health reasons. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not healthy, so we have to come to some type of agreement.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be 100% closed off to it. So yeah. There you go. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's been a really juicy conversation. I love it. Okay.
Yes, it really has.
I put you on the spot a few times, but I think you handled it pretty well.
Thank you very much. I'm sweating under here.
Now you're good. So where can people find you if they want to know a bit more about you? Or if they want to date you? Oh no, you're already dating. I was about to poop you out to everybody.
Well, you know, I'm replenishing my roster as because you have to refresh.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram for other purposes. At michelle.aj.konadu.
Okay. Yes. Okay. There you have it, guys. Okay, guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've learned so much about being a single mom, even though I am one, but it's new to me, so I have no idea. So Michelle has taught me some really great stuff today. I need to go home and write it all down. A few of those tips were amazing.
Make sure you go for that 5 a.m. walk.
I am. Watch me. I'm on the street. Coming to a street near you. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Nutitfafa.